I want to talk about the topic of compatibility because I believe that this is deeply misunderstood. And this is where everybody gets themselves into trouble in their relationships. Compatibility means that you have attraction, you have the desire to make it work. And it also means that you want the same things. The attraction part's really easy, right? Because you know if you're attracted to somebody and you know if it's mutual. But here's the thing. It is extremely common to be attracted to someone and to have a certain level of commitment. Maybe you're exclusive, or maybe you've been dating or living together, but you're not compatible. And what does that mean? When you're not compatible, it means you just don't quite fit. That as much as you may try, as much as you may be forcing it, as much as you may want it to work, it's just not working. There's something that's not right, and you know it. It's harder than it needs to be. There's tension. You kind of dread seeing, their name pop up on the phone. You know when something's not working. And when that happens, I want to take a giant highlighter. What you have here is compatibility and whether or not it's actually going to work. And here's the hardest thing. Sometimes you can be with somebody great and they're just not great for you. Sometimes you're with somebody and it's really good in the beginning. And then as you spend more and more time together, it's not good at all. And this is when you start to question, am I with the right person? It's not like there's anything wrong, but deep down you feel like there's something wrong. And this is super important for you to pay attention to, because if you feel like there's something off, then there is something off. And the good news about feeling that there's something off is that if the thing that's off is something that your partner and you are willing to work on together, the thing that's off can actually make the relationship amazing because you work on it together and you grow together. Any married couple will tell you, and I've been married for 28 years, there are a bazillion times in my relationship with Chris where things have felt off. And when things feel like they're not quite right, you want to have a partner that you lean toward each other, not that you lean away from each other. And so you can use these moments. You're like, is this the right person for me, to learn more about yourself, to learn more about your partner, and to help you determine whether or not this person is the right person for you and you're the right person for them. And if you're in a relationship right now and you know deep down, I wish this person treated me differently. I wish I was a priority. I wish that they would make more of an effort. I wish they didn't get drunk every night and then pass out next to me in bed and then pretend like it's no big deal in the morning. I wish they were more interested in my friends. If these are the kinds of things that are happening and you haven't had the conversation, then the problem in the relationship is you, because you're not raising the issues that would make you feel seen and make you feel safe. And in raising the issues in your relationship, if there is no change, there's not going to be a change. If there is an inability to hear you, there will never be an ability to hear you. And you better find the exit and sprint for it. And so, first of all, if you're questioning, good. Let's use this as an opportunity and unpack how you're going to figure out, am I compatible? Am I not? Is this my person or is this not my person? And so first things first, good job. Good job for recognizing that something's off. Now what I want to tell you is that there's 3 major mistakes that everybody makes in this moment. And I don't want you to make these mistakes. Number 1, major mistake is chasing the potential. That you're in a relationship with a fantasy in your head and you're not actually in a relationship with the person as they are. Rule number 1 in the let them theory is that human beings only change when they feel like it. And you will never be able to change another human being. And the single biggest mistake that I see with anybody dating or anybody in a relationship is that you're holding on to the potential and you're living in a fantasy in your head and you're not accepting reality, which is why you need to let them be who they are and then decide what you're going to do about it. That is what you need to do. So that's mistake number one, is chasing the potential. Mistake number two is that you're with somebody and your values aren't aligned. You don't want the same things. And yet you're convincing yourself that eventually this person's going to come around and convert to your religion, or they're going to come around and they're going to want to have children, or they're going to come around and they're going to want to sell all their possessions with you and travel around the world for 2 years. And the research is very clear on this. If you have to give up your dreams in order to stay with this person, this is not going to work. And the reason why this is not going to work is because you will grow to resent the other person, because you will blame them for being the reason why you didn't get to go to medical school, or you didn't get to move over to the other side of the planet and have this adventure, or you didn't get to have kids. And here's the hard truth. When you compromise your own values for the sake of a relationship, and you give up on your dreams for the sake of staying with somebody else, the other person isn't to blame. You are. If you have dreams and a vision for your life, it is your responsibility to create that vision and to hold that vision for yourself. And one of the hardest things in the world is when you wake up and realize you love somebody and you care about somebody who fundamentally does not share the same vision about what they want in life. And if that is where you are at, then this is not a relationship that is going to make either one of you happy. And so that's mistake number two, that you think this is going to change and it's not. Mistake number three is this 80-20 rule, that you're with somebody that has like 80% of the things that you want. But here you are in your mind thinking the 20% of things that aren't deep values, these are just nice to have, right? This is like the wish list that I wish that they were taller. I wish that, they were a little bit more athletic. I wish that they weren't so introverted at parties. It's more of a thing about like their personality, or I wish that they were a better skier, whatever it may be, that you've got this sort of 20% out here. And what I often see is that people will dump somebody that has 80% of the deep, amazing, meaningful stuff. They're kind. They have a growth mindset. They're loyal. They treat you with respect. You have fun together, but you're just kind of in that stage, kind of like the stage. We all go through that stage because you're just kind of in a plateau in your relationship. And you end up breaking up, not for any reason, but just because that 20%, that sparkly stuff is missing. You think if you had somebody that would take you off on some romantic thing, or that would buy you flowers more, that, would dress a little nicer, that somehow that would make your life better. And then what ends up happening? You end up dating people that have the 20% and you realize, oh my God, the 80% is what mattered. And I was just such a perfectionist, freak, FOMO, afflicted person that I've been chasing the 20%. We do this with our careers. We do this with our closet. We do this with our cars. We think that more, better, different is more, better, different. And oftentimes that stuff that you're chasing doesn't flipping matter. The people that are gorgeous right now are going to be ugly in 20 years. The people that are in shape right now are going to get fat when you get pregnant. The people that have a great job might get fired in 5 years, might lose it all. You don't know what's going to happen. But when you got somebody that has the 80% that really matters, they're aligned on the values and character, they make you feel like yourself, you're kind of in the rhythm where it's boring, but okay. Maybe boring is a sign that the relationship is good. Maybe drama and conflict is what happens with people that only have the 20%. What if boring is your new normal? Because it means you're with somebody who's safe and stable. And so I'm outlining these three mistakes. You're not aligned on your values. You're chasing the 20% when you have the 80%. Or you're simply ignoring the obvious and you're constantly chasing the potential. You're trying to fix. Like that's what you think love is. That's not what love is. Love is boring. Love is the 80%. Love is the ability to talk to your partner about what's not working and what you need, and to actually have your partner lean in and want to try to make things better. That's what makes a relationship work. And so here's the cool thing I want you to know. Having the conversation that things aren't working is how you make things work. Because if you have the conversation about what's not working and you ask open-ended questions and you apologize for your part of the frustrating dynamic, one of two things is going to happen. The person's either going to reveal that they're not the right person for you through their behavior and their response, or they're going to lean in and they're going to work on it with you. And that's a sign of a beautiful, healthy relationship. I'm willing to bet you haven't even had the conversation. I'm willing to bet that you haven't looked at whether or not you're making one of these three mistakes. And before you just break up with somebody, I want you to really look in the mirror and go, am I making one of these three mistakes? Have I had the conversation? And if you haven't, then have the conversation. And you're probably wondering, well, Mel, I have had the conversation. We've argued about the drinking and how much time they go out with their friends. We've talked about their ambition. We've talked about the fact that, I really want to go to medical school. And if I go to medical school, I want you to come with me and I want you to support me through this. We have talked about the fact that I wish that you were more interested in watching football with me and my friends. And it goes nowhere. It goes absolutely nowhere. Instead, we just kind of talk about it. Nothing changes. I used to do this too. And the approach that you need to take, if you're sitting there listening to me and you're like, okay, noted, Mel, I've been questioning. I've been wondering if this is the right person. And you're right. I haven't raised the issue, or I've raised the issue and it's gone nowhere. I want you to use a technique that I write about extensively in my book, The Let Them Theory. The technique is something I call the ABC loop. And the reason why I call it a loop is because the ABC part, you're going to have to keep having over and over in a loop. And I'm going to tell you what the ABC part is, and then I'm going to walk you through how you have this conversation. A is when you apologize and you ask open-ended questions. That's A. B means you're going to back off and you're going to watch someone's behavior. And C is when you are going to just compliment and celebrate any small change that you see, and you yourself are going to model the change that you wish your partner would have. And I highly, highly, highly recommend, if you're sitting there questioning a relationship, you follow the ABC loop formula before you break up, because I guarantee you, you have not approached this the right way. And using science, you can have a conversation that will reveal whether or not this is a person who is willing to grow, who can hear you, and who could possibly be the partner that you actually deserve. Am I with the right person? That is something that everyone feels at some point in their relationship. I don't care if you've been married for 50 years, if you've just met and had a one-night stand and now you think this is the love of your life. There will come a moment in time where you go,